G'day guys, this is Tim here from Grad Tests again. This is another quick help video in our tips and tricks series. This one's called Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law is the idea that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. I think it's helpful to have that mentality when you're tackling psychometric tests, because inevitably you're going to come up against some roadblocks and some failure along your road to success. So just for a moment, I want you to think about all the different things that could go wrong when you're taking a test, and I want you to figure out how you're going to mitigate those risk factors. That's what we're going to look through today. And really all the videos in this series are about delving into each of those specific risk factors and mitigating them. So let's say you go to take the test, so you open up your email, you find that test link which you've been set by the provider or the company, you click on it and it turns out the link has expired or it's broken. Bit of a problem. Well, if you look at our video on when the best time to take the test is, you'll know that you should take it as soon as possible. This is going to reduce the chance of this happening because the company may change the expiry date of the link after they've sent it out in the email. So that's one thing that could happen, and that's one way you can mitigate it. Maybe by the time you go to take the test, the website is down. There's a 404 error. This only is a problem for you if you've left the test till the last second. If you've given yourself weeks of time to do it, there's no issue. You can just come back to the site when it's up. 404 error is a temporary phenomenon. The site's not going to be down forever. Might be down for a few hours if you're unlucky, but that's only a problem for you if you've let that risk become a problem for you. And you will let that risk become a problem for you if you wait until the last second to do the test. Perhaps the test doesn't support your browser properly. Well, in our first video on getting your technology set up right, we give you some tips here in terms of using a really common browser like Chrome or Firefox, and also using the browser that the test provider tells you to use. And this should prevent any lack of browser support issues that you're having. Maybe your internet connection dies. This one would seem fairly well beyond your control, but think of obvious things like if you know there's a dead wireless spot in your house somewhere, don't take the test there. If you know that it's hard for the 4G to get into your apartment because you live in the basement, then probably don't use 4G for the test. You might get to the point where you're taking the test and it just doesn't load. Not a lot you can do about that. Not a lot of ways to mitigate that risk. Perhaps someone disturbs you while you're taking the test. That is something that's under your control. And in our previous video on getting the right environment set up, we go through ways to minimize all those distractions so you can really focus in on the test. So really think about all those kind of risks and seek to mitigate them as much as you can. Most importantly though, expect some kind of failure. Okay? If you're taking a lot of tests, you're going for a lot of interviews, shit will happen. Okay? You just have to roll with it and not let it affect you, not let it get you down, and not spend too much time trying to argue with a test provider or argue with a company about this and that happened. You just got to accept it and move on. So that's a quick video on risks and how to deal with them. So if you have any questions or comments or feedback at all, please leave it in the thread below. And as always, the best way to improve anything in life is to practice. So you can head on over to gradtest.com.au and work on improving your psychometric test performance by taking some of our practice tests.